the T stands for time. What time cost is involved in me engaging with you doing this project from the customer standpoint? I is identity. That's how the customer feels in themselves. For example, hire the cheapest guy and they do a shoddy work, they're going to feel like I wasn't really the leader of the house. I didn't really do good to my family. Emphasis for money, obviously, but money in terms of maybe opening the customer's eyes to what's the cost of not doing this repair that you need or not doing this project that you need. And making it very clear, not only here's the quote, sign here or not, but you're making them see clearly the psychological thing. When you present someone with options A, B, C, they're more actually to follow through and select one of the ones that you're giving them versus if you're saying it's like yes or no, here's the quote, take it or leave it, you're automatically triggering the ask the option of not working with you. But of course, customers want to shop around, but they're not going to shop around for like 20 different contractors. It's going to have a limit. 3 to 5 is usually the max. And you're already giving them the 3 choices. You're just narrowing down and removing the possibility that they're going to go with someone else. Even if you're the higher priced one, but they see that care and quality and concern in you, there's so much to go down this rabbit hole.
You're listening to Brainwork Framework, a business and marketing podcast, brought to you by focus-biz.com.
Welcome back to another episode. With us today is the owner of Web Services Pro. His name is Hakim, and he helps primarily home improvement contractors automate their lead gen and marketing processes using custom AI solutions. So excited to have you on. Hakim, how are you doing today?
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. So tell me more about your entrepreneurial journey. What were you doing before that kind of led you into the marketing AI automation agency you are today?
Sure, depending on how far back you want to go. But this started really from the whole digital marketing experience where I was more doing the lead generation, Google ads, Facebook ads. The first step of the process of lead generation. One of the things I noticed is that there was a lot of leads falling through the cracks. And that wasn't really through any fault of the business owner. It's just a matter of juggling so many activities and so many tasks and not having enough time. Slowly that switched over, and that kind of corresponded with the rise of AI over this past year and a half or so. At first, I kind of didn't pay attention to it, but then I started looking into it more and more and realizing that this can really replace so much time and effort and energy and save a lot of money as well and build a lot of money. That led to most digital marketers and agencies, they chase after clients, whereas my shift was now going into forming partnerships. It might be a subtle adjustment, but going from clients' work into partnerships. And along with that, partnerships in the sense of you get a share of the proceeds and the revenue that you develop and you bring into the business. And that's more performance-based. And that's usually what business owners appreciate more. There's a lot of bad experiences, negative experiences that business owners have had with marketing agencies making big promises and not really living up to it. But you can come in there confidently and say, you have ingredients in your house, let me bake you a pie. And then once the pie is ready and good, I'll just have a slice of that. And they're just sitting in the house with these ingredients laying around. That's just a little example. But what that really transfers into is I'm focusing more on building AI tools that will help stop the bleeding budgets, stop the missed opportunities, address, for example, the huge, usually massive customer database or database of leads that they have just sitting there collecting dust and using that as the main profit center. That's where I'm really focused on now, as well as a lot of discovering passive income revenues that they might not be aware of, as well using AI, automating, which we have time to get into that. But that's the main focus that I'm working on right now.
I love the approach that you take to the agency because now you removed a huge risk or an objection that they would have about signing up, making big promises and not following through. But you're limiting that risk for them and say, only give me a piece of the pie once it's finished, and then we can go from there.
Exactly. And you grow together instead of being kind of adversarial. I don't want to give you the money and sitting on the opposite sides of the tables. We'll just come to the same side of the table and look forward together at whatever problems that you might be experiencing. For example, I was talking to a roofer the last 2 weeks ago where He actually has a Facebook group of roofers under him. They always discuss the top shop. And a lot of roofers, once you get to the 1 million a year mark or level in terms of revenue, obviously you need a team. And a lot of the sales reps in roofing, they take a huge commission out, leaving the business owner, even though they're the owner of the business, they have little profit that they take home at the end of the day. Not being so dependent on paying out commissions up front and you're at the end of the list, even though you're the business owner, is really a big help. I don't want to take it down to the route of letting go of people or letting go of staff, but using the staff instead of doing the drudgery work, taking some tasks off their plate to let them do more higher level work. And I tried to make a point that I don't want you to fire anyone. I don't want to be responsible for cutting off someone's livelihood, but instead just make those shifts and let AI do the basic stuff.
Right, absolutely. It's just about integrating technology into their current processes. Because
Yeah.
I can't imagine either home contractors or solopreneurs are out here wondering, can I afford to pay someone 24/7 to generate a lead,
Exactly.
pre-qualify, and nurture them, when really we can have AI do that. And just like you said, assign the humans to those higher value tasks.
Exactly. The other thing is that my desired top service that I want to give, since we're talking about roofers, the question is, what is the most profitable service that at the same time is the least hassle? Which might not necessarily be the most expensive service, but that ends up throwing away a lot of potential leads and a lot of potential revenue. At first, when I was building the AI tools, I would really severely work on that pre-qualification and just cutting off the fat. But I started to see that even in the lesser quality leads, you can still have a profit center from there and you can still have potential revenue from there. The whole philosophy of there's no such thing as a bad lead, which we talked about earlier, using the AI to intelligently route lead and to not only discover what the lead or homeowner really wants or what is not stated on the lead generation form upfront, but kind of having that conversation with them. Then say, you actually need a deck, for example. I have a partner who does a deck. Let me send them over to you. And then in between you and the deck builder have a relationship and you can split the profits. You now ended up creating a new income stream where you didn't have to do any fulfillment and any work. And that's all because you're using AI intelligently to enhance and profit from these relationships that pretty much every business owner in any industry has relationships, in between, whether you attend industry associations, the meetups, conferences, you're always going to make these relationships. Why not profit together? And what's this saying? A rising tide lifts all boats, right? Using AI to do that because you're graduating and elevating yourself above looking at that competitive spirit and more into collaboration. And that's where all the ultra successful business owners are at, all collaborations instead of competition. There's so much potential there that you can do. Part of what I've been working at is, or kind of what I hope sets me apart and unique from many AI tools out there, is that baking into it the advanced sales techniques and the sales philosophy into the conversation. It's not just a matter of the AI answering customer service questions like, what are your hours? What are your prices? But also being able to intelligently converse with that leads with a previous customer. Just imagine if you had the leads that knew something about you already because they interacted with your business before and they answer 4 or 5 basic questions to identify what they want. What is the size of your roof? What materials do you want to use? What's the problem with your roof? They answer some basic questions. And so what I've done is made the ability to have it create a quote range. The result would be you can expect to pay between 13,000 to 18,000 for this new roofing project. You're not giving them exact quotes, which is a job of the technician or the contractor that comes. And then you're saying, okay, does this align with your timeline and budget? And if the lead says yes and approves that, that gets delivered to the roofing contractor or roofing business owner. They have a lead that's of the highest quality because now it's just taking orders. The lead already knows your prices. They already agreed to it. Another thing that I've included into that is one of my mentors, he has this concept called timer. These are 5 aspects of the sales process of where or why someone would say yes or no. A lot of times it's not only about I have the best prices. A lot of business owners compete with each other, and the first thing that comes to their mind is they compete on price and just going down and who's the cheapest, right? So the T stands for time. What time cost is involved in me engaging with you doing this project from the customer standpoint? I is identity. That's how the customer feels in themselves. For example, hire the cheapest guy and they do a shoddy work, they're going to feel like I wasn't really the leader of the house. I didn't really do good to my family. Emphasis for money, obviously, but money in terms of maybe opening the customer's eyes to what's the cost of not doing this repair that you need or not doing this project that you need. And making it very clear, not only here's the quote, sign here or not, but you're making them see clearly a psychological thing. When you present someone with options A, B, C, they're more actually to follow through and select one of the ones that you're giving them. Versus if you're saying it's like yes or no, here's the quote, take it or leave it, you're automatically triggering the option of not working with you. But of course, customers want to shop around, but they're not going to shop around for like 20 different contractors. It's going to have a limit. 3 to 5 is usually the max. And you're already giving them the 3 choices. You're just narrowing down and removing the possibility that they're going to go with someone else. Even if you're the higher priced one, but they see that care and quality and concern in you, there's so much to go down this rabbit hole. The E is for energy. As long as you remove any kind of obstacle that requires their energy input and just makes it done for them, is another aspect of inching them towards saying yes and working with you. And the R is for reputation. The reputation is the result of what comes along with working with you. Like even from the customer standpoint, they work with the landscaper and their landscape lawn is the best in the neighborhood and they get the admiration from their neighbors and so on and so forth. But when it comes to another aspect I want to share is that when you have a business owner being the Facebook ads, I'll give you something that's very valuable and useful to your listeners. When people run Facebook ads, what's usually the approach is that, okay, inside the Facebook ads, get your free quotes, get your estimate. And what ends up happening is you're fighting over that 3 to 5% of people already in the market for that service. But it's only the intelligent business owners think about plugging themselves into the sales process even before the customer is ready to pull the trigger. You'd see the successful business owners, if you go to Google and you type in your roof replacement, what you'll end up seeing is that people also ask. You'll see a list of questions that people ask centered around that topic. If you're a business owner, for example, puts out these short 1-minute videos across social media, how do I know my roof needs replacement? Or what are the signs of roof damage that might be hidden from my eyes? And the customer, they're doing research, just saying, okay, my house has the HVAC system is old, the roof is old, I need a new kitchen remodel. During that research, you come up first as just giving value, and you can use AI to do that as well. The customer now already has that relationship with you as a source of value, and you're going to be seen as in a much better light compared to like the 10 other storm chasers that knock down your door once the storm comes and say, let me fix your roof. Because like you've done, what are you bringing to the table other than a quote of asking money? And I have to study and examine you and say, what's your past record of doing roof repairs? You might not even be the best roofer, honestly, in the area. But if you have that previous relationship by just being a source of value to that customer, you've already entrenched that relationship and made it strong. And you can charge higher prices and they won't bat eyelids, for example. And again, whereas before that used to all be a manual process, now with AI, these tools that you can automate this and take a great amount of tasks off your plate. And going back to kind of what I'm doing, I'm baking a lot of this. If you should see my prompt, it's a huge 10,000 words prompt of baking all these sales techniques into it. If one of your audience members or followers were to hit me up and I can just show them some demo of how it works, you could see the different of high quality conversation that this AI tool has One thing I want to say is I haven't gone into the whole voice AI. I don't think that personally that's a good idea. I'm taking them 90% of the way there with terms of getting the customer ready and set up for the final meeting, face-to-face meeting or phone consultation, whatever happens to be the case. But it's such an easy conversion afterwards because they're fully qualified, fully prepared, and fully warmed up as well. Whether it's a service that you're going to directly provide or in other cases, a service that you can outsource and get passive income from. I've been rambling a lot, but I don't know if that triggers any questions in you.
No, absolutely. One, I was going to ask before about the prompts, but two, we don't need to make AI fit anywhere it doesn't need to fit yet. If AI voice isn't complementary to the services that you offer, well, then you're going to be better off with your email or SMS. Just finding wherever the customer prefers to have that communication, that pre-qualification, getting them warmed up, ready to hand off to the sales team. That takes off 10 to 15 minutes plus of manual pre-qualification just to warm up a lead, to even see if they're a good fit. That pre-qualification is so important, but the prompting aspect is important as well. It's one thing to grab customer info and the business info, but how do we put our magic spin into it as you kind of described?
Exactly. Yes. There's a lot of popular advanced sales technique that have worked in the past and proven the test of time. Stuff like spin selling, gap selling, the challenger sale by Belfort's, consultative sales. A lot of times your staff might not be very adept at these high level sales techniques and might not really be that efficient on the phone. But when you kind of mitigate that risk, when you already have that conversation effectively with the customer, and then now place them in your hands in the silver platter. Like I said, you're just going to take orders at that point. It's not only the fact of you missed the call because you're on the ladder or you're having dinner with the family or the lead came in at 2:17 in the morning, which they often do, believe it or not. It's the whole fixing the missed opportunities that you have, answering any objections that the customer may have as to why they should work with you. And it's no fault of their own, but a lot of business owners are in their craft and in their minds. When they come to the customer, they're going to say, I'm using the Nail Gun 9000, this brand new state-of-the-art tool that I have and which is going to make your project perfect and so forth. Now compare that to a remodeler that comes in the home and sees little kids running around. Say, listen, I'm going to remodel the kitchen in such a way that the edges are not going to be sharp. They're going to be rounded. If some kid happens to bump in the table, they won't get that hurt. The customer hears that, they've had that sharp eye and noticed something about their life, something about their worldview. And that's just like a whole sets some worlds apart. And a lot of times that's the skill that is not present automatically off the gate. You have to learn that skill. Putting yourself into the customer's viewpoint versus, for example, praising the new state-of-the-art tools that you have. That's one shift that needs to be made. And that's something that may not be top of mind, but when you bake that into the AI tools that I'm making, that's taken care of. Having that, you said 10 to 15 minutes, but honestly, it should be at least an hour conversation. Really get to understand the customer, why it's not just a quick wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, but getting to know the customer and as well building that relationship. Then down the line, if they have something else, either they can recommend you or some other home project comes up, you'll be the first one they reached out to. That's why I focused on doing it over text, doing it over chat. It fits into website chat, into SMS, two-way SMS conversations, to email. But then once it comes to the point of needing to hop on the phone, I leave that to the actual business staff because they need that human touch as well. Another thing I wanted to really talk about is in football, for example, it's always easier to score a touchdown from the 5-yard line or the 10-yard line instead of always starting from the end of the field. If they've been in business for 5 years or more, they have a database already of almost spots or leads that didn't finish the conversion process. For whatever reason it might be, if they need financing or if they need whatever the reason that they didn't convert at that moment, because not everyone converts at the first encounter, right? Instead of just kind of ignoring and neglecting that huge database of past leads that you have, and instead of hiring extra staff or redirecting staff energy and hours towards harvesting that list of database of leads that they have, let the AI do it. In my experience, between on the low end 8 or 9%, and on the high end 21% of dead lead being revived back into new sales using AI. It's very powerful. It recovers a lot of that bleeding budget. You can even use AI to customer lands on your website and they bounce off and they never fill out a form or call you. But now AI can actually identify them, who that customer is. It triggers an email to them, because usually it identifies them by email. It triggers the email to them saying you can tweak the message according to whatever business you happen to be, but it follows up with them so that they're not a lost opportunity. But really, it's a huge mistake to ignore and neglect your database of leads, as well as actual past buyers and customers, and only focus on the new strangers or the cold strangers that business owners tend to, I need more and more new leads. It's a leaking bucket, more volume, but stop the leaking bucket, first of all. That's the thing. So instead of yourself manually putting in that effort and time and energy into that, let the AI handle that. Then that's taken care of, and you get that 20% revenue or opportunity back to your bottom line. That's a very big thing I'm focused on when it comes to partnering with business owners.
It's great
And yeah,
because I think a lot of business owners are leaving money on the table right now. And like you said, there's holes in this bucket and they constantly say new leads. What about the current leads that we already have? Wouldn't we want to nurture them better? That's generally where the money is left on the table.
And that's just like a 5-yard towards the touchdown. That's sometimes how little it takes. But even the point you missed their phone call, they're probably not going to leave a voicemail. They're just going to hop into the next listing on Google. Capturing them within those first 3 minutes is crucial right there as well. There's so many leaks in the bucket. It's not just one leak. There's multiple leaks in the bucket that you have to plug in to be able to not only survive, but thrive and grow.
Absolutely. Totally agree. Now, Hakim, where can people find you online and get connected with you?
They can find me on the website, www.webservicespro.co is the main website they can go to. I'm also on LinkedIn and Facebook and YouTube. I can give you those links as well to publish there, but send me a text, 571-297-7559. I don't mind giving the number out. That's not my personal cell phone number. Those are the main ways to get connected.
Perfect. And we'll have those links available down in the show notes and the description. Now, Hakim, what are you most excited for in 2025? Seems like you have the system built out. It's helping a lot of businesses. What are you doing now that's been most impactful for you? You're starting partnerships, but how are you connecting with these people? Are you going out and knocking on their doors for the businesses? Are you reaching out and doing your own ads or content creation as well?
I'm doing what I'm doing with you now, getting out podcasts. There's a whole idea of having an audience owner of the people that you want to help and target. Industry associations, podcasts, writing articles for industry magazines, working with other complementary agencies, for example, as well. There was a friend of mine, he said that he used to sell chocolate when he was about 14 years old. And he would first go knock on door by door business, something everyone loves. And he'd get doors smashed in his face, or they're just not going to answer the door. And it took his bag of chocolate, it took him the whole week to sell that. Whereas he went one time to a grocery store owner and say, stand outside the grocery store and sell these chocolates and I'll give you a kickback. Within 15 minutes, the chocolate was gone. Stepping into where there's already traffic is a much better, more efficient way to get the word out there.
Absolutely. And now you're making people come to you instead of forcing going into their space. Hakim, we appreciate you coming on to share your tips and tricks and wisdom with us. For those who are interested, make sure you check out the show notes and description down below so you can get connected with Hakim here. Thank you again so much. We appreciate it. Looking forward to the future endeavors with all the systems that you've built out.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I appreciate it even more. I love to have this opportunity and nice to talk with you, man.
Likewise. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.